You are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire youth wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leck.
And together we are Break. And another week of Wednesday Night Wars. And of course, you know, we're going to have to do 2 shows, but we give you NXT first because we feel NXT has a little bit of edge over AEW most weeks. So, you know, we're going to be talking about NXT Dusty Cup, both women's and men's. Pretty decent show, right, Paul? Nothing.
Yeah. I want to correct you. Monday Night Raw actually has edge, but for the sake here, NXT. No, I do think it's even though we've been saying for weeks it's been going downhill. It's still the better presented show in a wrestling sense, where they try to keep the core of wrestling there. But I mean, this wasn't a bad show. There were some things that I liked. I thought, okay, this is good development for stories. And then there's other things that I really didn't care for, and I really didn't get the direction they were going. But, overall, not a bad show. Yeah,
overall it's passing grade, at least not as bad. And we see something, like I said, Dusty Cup, men's and women's, and also planting seeds for what's going to be NXT TakeOver on Valentine's Day. So thank you so much, family, for all the great viewership, comments, and all the love that you give us throughout the social media waves and the pages. Don't forget, Jean-Paul and myself covered, Orton also never forgets. A lot of people are loving this RKO on Alexa Bliss. Others are so it's kind of bullshit that they did that. It's predictable. But like Jean Paul said it, if they do that, it's going to be a great ending. But we're talking about this and we're not even mentioning the Royal Rumble. I don't get that.
Yeah, did zero Royal Rumble build besides, what we were joking about earlier, Edge. He was the only guy. He cut a, amazing promo, probably one of the best promos you heard in weeks, saying that, he, last year, it won't be a special, but this year he has to win it. He has to win everything. And, I mean, listen to the promo. I'm butchering it, but, go on YouTube. I'm sure they have it. Listen to that promo.
Yes,
but, I like the RKO ending because it's with the Alexa Bliss character. They're pushing her, super, the power. And she's not going to get pinned. So how else is Asuka going to get out of that with the championship? An RKO from Randy Orton.
I loved it. I think it was a great ending. But, just hey, check that out review. Thank you for the love that you give us on that. NXT, let's focus on that right now. NXT opened up with the Dusty Classic for the men's. MSK, a team that just debuted last week. Of course, they're old rascals. And, Trey Miguel actually re-signed with Impact, so they're going to be away from each other. A lot of rumors that he was going to go AEW or WWE. He actually rather stayed home. And MSK, these new guys went against Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. I think that match quality pretty decent, but something that we were talking before we went on air is really hard to get behind Drake Maverick and also Killian Dane because it's just a comedy act. They're not really a team. It doesn't matter how much they try, but we're never going to go these guys are going to be tag team champions.
Yeah, and exactly that. MSK, they're the new team. They debuted in this tournament. Like I said, they're at least going to make it to the finals. I think they should win the whole thing, especially, the tag team division here is lacking. Like we said, you take a joke tag team. That's one of the tag teams that they kind of push. So that just shows you how bad the division is. But MSK, hopefully they make it to the finals. Hopefully win, get them over. But, I mean, this match wasn't bad. We've always been saying how good Killian Dane is, but they just either have nothing to do with him. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to push you. Or they put him in stuff like this where he looks good, but in the end, he is the L. He doesn't have the W. He comes up the loser. But, I mean, this was pretty decent. Like I said, I like MSK. I like Killian Dane. Drake Maverick is not bad for his size. So you could have, him versus Kushida. That hole in that cruiserweight round-robin tournament was badass. But you see him in here now. Dez and Wentz, because I don't remember they're Dez and Wentz. Let's be legit here. But they're bigger. They're not the biggest guys, but they're bigger than Killian than Drake Maverick. That when he punches them, it's really, you shouldn't. It's kind of selling for a guy who's almost half your size is, to me a little bit unbelievable. But also with everything being said, we knew who was going to win this thing.
Yes. There was not going to be a surprise here, and there wasn't going to be an upset. It was just supposed to be for MSK. Like you said, I hope they made it to the final. And, I like the finisher, the blockbuster, and they finally called it a blockbuster. So that was very cool, and they did it on the right guy. Why? Because, of course, Dre Maverick's the guy that they don't like. And, of course, that was it. 1, 2, 3, and they advanced. MSK, like you said, they're actually like the new future for like NXT when it comes to tag teams. So I like that like they're winning, and this is a good way to like show them to the world. You know.
Yes, and after this, you know, I mean, I know they like this comedy act and they think it's funny. Whoever, whether it's the TV writers, hopefully not Triple H, but you know, somebody from our favorite show on Thursday afternoons, I guess he decided to make his home here. So hopefully, you know, since he came here, they take Killian Dane and put him on NXT UK, because I think at least there he would. I mean, he's from the UK, and also, you know, it would be something legit, a new, you know, scenery for him, and they would probably use him better.
Oh yeah. I really hope that's what they do with him, or like, you know, maybe he could go join Impact and be again with Eric Young, and then just keep it.
That would be badass.
You know, violence by design. You know, like he can do that. But like, at least we get to see like the next bracket is going to be MSK and either like Legado del Fantasma or the Lucha House Party. That match is going to be really cool to watch because it is going to be Mexican style, going at each other, you know, really lucha libre all the way around. So we'll hopefully, like, it's going to be good, but it's not going to be, I think, on next episode of NXT, or either they're going to have it on 205 Live, because some matches were contested there. But
well, then if they have that on 205 Live, then they might actually get me to watch an episode of 205 Live.
First time ever that we will be watching 205 Live.
First time ever for everything.
There's always a first time ever. So yeah, exactly. So we got like a little promo of the Stallion. You know, he was talking about what he was going to do in his match.
Oh, no, not that one.
Not that one. No, absolutely not the legit one. Not just the Stallion, but we're going to talk about him in a little bit because there was a lot of interactions or information on that. So let's go to the next match. You know, Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai going against Aaliyah and Jessica Maya. This match was actually one-sided for me. Why? Because, of course, the team of Raquel Gonzalez, she's so hot after beating Rhea Ripley. And Dakota Kai, of course, she's a good heel. She had a little bit of momentum when she went against Io Shirai in one of the takeovers in a few months ago. But, like, other than that, I just don't know where Dakota Kai fits in here. But, like, it was revealed that it was 1 year around that like, they developed their friendship. Remember when she came out and when Raquel came out and helped Dakota beat Tegan Nox. So, like, it was just one-sided for me, and we knew that this team was going to win.
Yeah, I mean, the Robert Stone brand, like, you can get them over, you can try to do stuff, but, you know, you put them in a first-round matchup against this team. You know, Raquel, she pretty much chased Rhea Ripley out of NXT, you could say, if you want to go, like, in the world of kayfabe. So it's like, you know, I would say almost, you could say she's the number one contender, even more so than Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez. So... And, I mean, they weren't going to win this. Robert Stone brand has been presented as a joke. I mean, I think that the two women, Jessica Maya and Aaliyah, you know, with time and training and all that, I'm not saying they're awful, but I think they could be, somewhat legit. But, you know, their time isn't now. And, you know, it was the heel team was the right winners. But, I mean, this is another match, too. I think it went on a little too long. I think it should have been like, I was just going to say, yeah, the heel should have just been dominant. Should have been like, oh, you know, like I said, you chase the best woman of NXT history. They want to say it. You know, the whole Hogan, Rhea Ripley, she got run out of NXT, so this woman should just be destroying everybody.
Yeah. Well, like the one thing is like I would say like Aaliyah out of the two has like a little bit more future because she didn't get the pin. It was Kamea that got the pin.
Yeah.
She did like that choke slam into like a power bomb. It's like a mixture.
Yeah, the choke bomb. Yeah.
Yeah, like the choke bomb. There you go. See, Jean Paul knows the names. Like, I know what they look like. I just don't know the names. But like the choke bomb, 1, 2, 3, they get the win. And like I mean, I think they're trying to protect Aaliyah somewhat because Aaliyah, like I see, they have Aaliyah's kind of popular, you know, outside of the world of NXT. A lot of people like think that she's a great wrestler and all that. So I think that like later on, maybe like towards the summer or maybe towards the end of the year, then Aaliyah will become like a main event player. Let's say there's some call-ups for the main roster. So I think that's going to be good. But for the now, Raquel and Dakota Kai advance, and they're going to be facing the team of Catanzaro and Jaden Carter. So that one is going to be another one-sided match for me right there. Now, instead of showing the bracket, you know, full screen, now they give you like half of it. So that's why we have the picture right there. But I think that like these girls might make it to the final. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely book them in the finals for everything I've been saying about Raquel. Just, you know, you need to make her look legit. And you already took, I would say, the most legit team out of the tournament in Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez. So, I mean, this is, to me, is the second most legit team. And nothing against Dakota, because I do like her. But, I mean, they're the most legit team just based solely on Raquel. So I think they got to make the finals.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like hopefully, like that's what we're hoping. Especially like you said, Raquel. Raquel is the main thing right there. So quick promo, by the way, not by the way, but the way, Gargano and like also Austin Theory, Candice was right there. Also Indy, they're all like talking about how Candice and Indy like advance to the next round. They beat the team of Priscilla Kelly or like Gigi, how is like her name right now on NXT, and like they're not allowed to say Kushida Po. No, you don't say that.
And then where did they actually show that match?
205 Live again. 205.
Okay, see, that's weird that they had like the women like match on 205 Live. To me it's like, and also it's she was debuting, because I did see that and I'm like, did I just blank this out of NXT? But like, did I not remember this? But was there too much juice going on in the treehouse with the Rascals or something? But I was like, yeah, so I don't like that at all. But I mean, this was funny, I guess, you know what I mean, like if that's what they were trying to go for. But I don't know, the way, like we said, they have lost the way.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's not, especially because they keep running with that idea of the curse, like, oh, you don't say this. You're making Luke Gargano like a really like a pussy champion, like he doesn't want to defend the title. I mean, if you're heel, you got to be dominant instead of like, oh, yeah, I don't want to defend the title, I don't want to do it.
I don't know when like the norm for heels became like a cowardly, shitty heel, when it used to be like a badass. Remember like Triple H when he was heel? It was like a sadistic son of a bitch, and it was like, Jim Ross would be like, oh my God, freaking out and all this stuff. Now you look at the heels and you laugh at them.
Yes, it's true. Like they need to like pretend, especially because a lot of people feel that Gargano is not a good heel. So like make him look like a good heel. You know what I mean? Like try to make him into a good heel. If you fail, you fail, but like try to at least. Let's go to this. Like you said, this is way too long. Now this was like everybody. I know you agree with me. This is way too long. Tyler Ross, because like against an enhancement talent. This time Malcolm Bivens chose the opponent because last week he went against Bronson Reed. So of course that wasn't the plan. That wasn't a good idea because what happened? Tyler lost. But in this one, at least he looked better. Great showing for the guy, and the enhancement talent make him look a little better. But
this guy, he got a little too much offense on Rust for like they're trying to get him over. Obviously not like Karrion Kross get him over, but like a mid-level heel, maybe like okay, because you have the joke manager and Robert Stone, Tony Khan. Now you have Malcolm Bivens, and they're gonna do maybe try to treat him legit. But this just went way too long. The best thing about this match for me is when they said Tyler Rust, for his first fight, he was going after Rocky when Malcolm Bivens wanted him to go after Spider Rico. So I'm like, that was legit. That was that was like the best part of the match.
Ben Phoenix was right there with Wade Barrett and also with Big Joseph. So like, that was good. I like the submission though, a little different. Don't you think? It looked decent.
Tyler Rust is a good wrestler. That's why I think this match should have been quicker to try to get him over.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like the AEW that like the guy that like you're trying to get over almost loses. No, they don't go like that. Just make him look.
Oh, you mean like Cody and Peter Avalon having a 10-minute match?
Yes, that's what I mean. Then thanks for translating for me, but that's what I feel. It was way too long for my taste. But like Tyler Ross gets the win. That's good. We get to see a promo for like Scarlett again reading the cards. Kind of like spreading negativity. That's what Wade Barrett said, and like so something with Karrion Kross. They didn't have a match for him, which is okay. We don't
need to see him every week.
Exactly. And I mean, like Scarlett looks like now like she's like a witch. She reads like the cards and all of that, and we'll see what happens with that. Like you said, at least he's not in title contention, so that's fine. In talking about title contention right there. Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly. Finn Balor goes up to him, or no, Kyle O'Reilly was up to him, and he's like, hey, I just want to see if we're on the same page. What do you think? Oh, yeah, we're legit. Are we going to do this? Yeah, we're good. All right. Just to make sure, to make sure that like they're in the same page for the match, that they're going to have that is going to be the main event, which is okay. I really like it.
I didn't mind this because it's like, hey, you broke my jaw. I almost broke your jaw. And then it's like, obviously you're going to have a little animosity. You're not going to be like, ooh, and be like best friends. So I like that there's a little bit of tension, but obviously we didn't see any bullshit in the main event from these two, which was good.
Yes, exactly. So now let's go to the next match of the Dusty Cup, and that's Leon Ruff with Kushida going against the Grizzled Young Veterans. This was good because the Grizzled Young Veterans came out first, and they were talking, well, like Kushida and Ruff, they were already in the ring. There was no music for them, but like the Grizzled Young Veterans came out, and then they said, hey, the biggest one-hit wonder in Leon Ruff, and like a legit singles guy in Kushida, but, in the team, they're not a team. They don't have 15-year experience like we have. And like we're going to put that name into the Dusty Cup, the Girls Young Veterans. I like these two guys. Every week that they come out, I'm starting to love Gibson and Drake. I don't know why, but I'm starting to love them. They love soccer, so that's fine. They're Liverpool fans. I gotta love that. But I like this. Well, what do you think? This match, pretty decent.
The Grizzled Young Veterans, I always like to make a joke how the name is a little oxymoron, doesn't really make any sense, but I mean, they're a legit tag team. I like, Gibson on the mic, he's good, and Drake, is a great wrestler. And I mean, everything they said is true. Like, what, you guys have been teaming for 5 minutes? We're supposed to be scared of that? Like, we beat you as the Time Splitters in the last tournament, which they mentioned the Time Splitters. We haven't seen Alex Shelley on Impact for a couple weeks. I don't know if that kayfabe injury is real or if maybe somebody's contract is up. So who knows? Because we are seeing the Cowboy and Chris Sabin teaming up, but that's for a different review. So, this is. But I mean, this match was good. I liked it. I think Kushida looks really good. I like how he can just snap any, move, anything. He can counter it right into a submission. He is really good. The Grizzled Young Veterans, excellent tag team. I would still rather see him in NXT UK, but that tag team division is loaded. So maybe they think, hey, these guys can make more of an impact here on NXT. But, and Leon Ruff, I mean, if you like his, they compare him to Spider-Man. So, I mean, if you like that, like jumping off the ropes and doing the flips and shit, but to me, that's not for me, because you have, Drake or Gibson are they're pretty much holding his hand in like a wrist lock as he's jumping on the ropes, and they're just holding him so he doesn't fall. And I'm like, you can clearly see it's like, can you actually wrestle? And if you're not going to wrestle, just go join, gymnastics and just do those jumps and flips.
For example, if you want a little bit of that, how about Ricochet? Ricochet can do absolutely.
Yeah, and Ricochet can also wrestle.
Yeah, exactly. And Ricochet looks more like a wrestler.
And Ricochet weighs more than 100 pounds.
Yes, exactly. So, Leon Ruff, like you said, if you like cruiserweight, that's fine. But, I like the Doomsday device that, the Grizzled Veteran did. That was absolutely cool. And also, they hit all the big moves onto, Leon Ruff. So, instead of, Kushida. So, Kushida still looks, pretty decent. And at the end, Ticket to Mayhem, right there. Boom, 1, 2, 3. And the Grizzled Veterans get the win. Which it was, right call. I would have been really upset if they would have lost. Boom, right there. And then after the match, Kushida comes back to the ring, the Grizzled Veterans leave, and then the Way attacks. The Way attacks, Gargano and Austin Theory, they start beating up Kushida. Leon Ruff tries to, even the odds, but, he can. But all of a sudden, like you said, we got to see something in the promo also, by, the Way, and there's this guy. Dexter Lumis is getting into the mix. So, for everybody, even you and me are asking, what's going on in here? Why is Lumis being added into this when there's no reason for it? Should just be Gargano and Kushida as a singles match. But, no. It seems to me that, they pointed out at that. And, as, Austin Theory is beating up Leon Ruff and Kushida, boom, he pops one more time. And I want to hear your thoughts, but, I don't need to see a triple threat on this category. I much rather see, Gargano in the heel and Kushida's the baby facing.
Yeah, no, if you want to do something cool, you got, just do this. Just do Kushida and Johnny Gargano. Kushida overcomes the odds, with Austin Theory there and everything. And, he wins the belt. And then hopefully, they can get rid of the Way, or at least do something more legit with them. Because right now, it's not good. And for what to do with Dexter Lumis, you have somebody who we'll talk about a little bit later, too, in Karrion Kross, who we said you have to save that matchup with him and Balor till WrestleMania weekend, wherever that takeover is going to be. So this would be the perfect guy. They're both kind of have the same vibe. They're big. Karrion speaks, but they don't speak too much. They have that weird psycho killer vibe to them.
Yeah, so, you want to be in a title match?
And that would be a legit match, just for both these guys. Obviously, Karrion would go over, but also it would be good, and it would kill some time to get to closer to March and April.
Yeah, I just don't like that, but you see clearly, Planet ceased to be a triple threat, and they're going to talk about it a little bit on the
because if you're not going to put Kushida in the cruiserweight to go after, Jordan Devlin or Santos, you're not going to put him in there. At least give him the North American. Don't give it to Dexter Lumis.
Yeah, no, exactly. Dexter Lumis is the guy that doesn't need even titles, because it's like a NXT version of Cassidy. I don't know if it's the right comparison, but doesn't talk, doesn't do much. Yeah, just is there. You can put him anywhere, but don't just add him in make that the North American, just make that a singles match. I don't like that. Talking about championship matches, there you go. Boom. There was supposed to be a cruiserweight championship match with the Stallion right there and going against Santos Escobar, but before he goes to the ring, he gets attacked by Legado del Fantasma. He was able to say that. He's like, who did this? Legado. So, then William Regal is absolutely pissed off. He's, fuming because of the situation. So he goes and, talks to the Legado del Fantasma. And he's like, hey, next week is going to be the same match. You're going to have the match that we're supposed to be today. And if one of you does something to like, you know, the Stallion Curtis, then, you know, it's going to be repercussions to the three of you. So like Santos is like, oh, legit, legit, all the talking Spanish. And then he actually moves the Cruiserweight Championship, and then he finds one of like Scarlett's cards. So it's like, oh, so like you said, they're teasing something between Santos Escobar and, you know, Karrion Kross. I don't know how I feel about that. I think that it will ruin both of them. There's no reason to mix them.
But there's no reason to do it because, like we said, Santos, you know, while he's Cruiserweight champion, and some people view the Cruiserweights as like, you know, not legit or anything, but it's like he's been presented, you know, in such a good way. And if he goes against Karrion, he's obviously going to lose. And obviously, you know, Karrion's pissed because he's like, oh, yeah, mamacita, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like he was, you know, kind of flirting in a joking way with Scarlett last week or 2 weeks ago when he cut that promo. So, you know, okay, I understand why they're doing it. It's not out of left field. There's a little bit of a story there. But to me, like you said, Karrion's he's not going to lose. So then you just make Santos look like an idiot. I don't get that. Like I said, I'd rather see Dexter Lumis and Karrion Kross going at it versus this. But
yes, you're right. So now let's go to the next. And you know, this picture like talks about, you know, by itself. You know, who wouldn't like to, like, when you every time you go to your house, you get to see this? Toni Storm on the microphone. I mean, do I really care what she had to say? No, I actually pay attention. Don't think that I'm just all about that. But like, yeah, she was talking about. She said like, instead of like, you know, waiting for the opportunity, I made the opportunity happen, and I said, hey, when I went to like for the NXT UK Championship, I won it, and then I went for like the Mae Young Classic, I won it, and then he goes, Io, I wanted to be like wanted to win the Dusty Cup with like Mercedes, but you got in the middle of that, and now I don't have that, so I really hate you for it. So I'm gonna go after like your NXT Women's Championship. Io comes out, that was really cool, and like this for me was like the best part of the show. Just the interaction between the two of them. You know, like she says, well, I'm here. The one thing I don't like, Paul, is like she goes, I beat Rhea. So why Rhea is like the word, like is like.
What? You know, that's like I told you. She's the women's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, because like okay, like so why you have to even mention her? That there's no reason. And she goes, and you know, oh okay, and I don't like you. So they went at it. There was a little bit of interactions, but in the middle of all of that, Mercedes Martinez comes out. So again, like I said, we set a triple threat for the North American. It seems like it's going to be a triple threat for the women too. Like she's attacking like Io Shirai. But like, you thought that like Toni and Mercedes were going to still acting like a team, but no. In this situation, actually, you saw that like Mercedes and Toni like went at each other, but mostly Toni, she started attacking like Mercedes Martinez, and also she attacked Io, and she did 3 of like the knees on the turnbuckle, like she went like with the thighs, and you know, with those thighs, who wouldn't like be done after that? And then she grabbed the NXT Women's Championship. So I think it's going to be another triple threat. Do I like the idea? Not too much. I would much rather to see Toni and Io, but I mean Mercedes having a championship opportunity, I think is well due. You know, like she deserves it. I don't know in this fashion though.
Yeah, I would rather see a #1 contendership, and the way that they're really like loading this story up, it's Toni versus Io. You know, it's not Mercedes, which is, you know, that's a shame for her, but you know, it's do the match with Toni, and if they want to give it to Toni, I mean, legit, but I feel like as soon as they take the title off Io, I feel like she's going to get called up just because there's so many women on this roster. It's like, you can't, you know, like they did it to Rhea. She had her little run and all that, even when she wasn't champ. So I would rather somehow book this, you know, okay, both these women going back and forth, arguing, no, I want the title shot, I want the title shot, instead of just being lazy and going, okay, triple threat. Be like, well, you know, how about you, Mercedes and Toni, you have a #1 contenders match.
That would be cool.
And if you know, Raquel is like, oh, what about me? Blah blah blah. It's like, hey, well, you're still in the Dusty Classic. Worry about that. Like, let's not worry about two different things.
Mix it up and like, you know, the same women are fighting for everything. I like your idea. So we'll see what happens on the women's side. Like for now, it seems like triple threat. Hopefully not. Hopefully, like you said, #1 contender is better. There you go. Undisputed Era. Later, like, hey, you're gonna face the team of Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. We mentioned this. Robrick also said it. You know, while we watched the Fight Pit, remember Paul saying to me, "Look, they're gonna become a tag team." What happened? They became a tag team. They went on after like Tony Nese, the premier athlete, done. So like they're gonna be facing Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. So like Adam Cole and Roderick Strong are saying, "Hey, well, you know, we've been a tag team for the longest time." Same thing, like the same kind of thing that the Grizzled Veteran said. Hey, these guys have been a team for a minute. So, like, of course, we know more of each other as a team. We have more, you know, like moves. You know, we already know what we have to do in the ring. So, like, we're going to win, and it's going to be undisputed. So, I mean, that match is going to be cool, but I just don't like the idea of like, oh, we don't have anything for this guys, or just put him in a tag team and put him in the Dusty Cup. I don't know what you felt.
Yeah, and as many teams as they put in this Dusty Cup and as many matches we're not even seeing on NXT, if you would just take out all these joke shit teams, like now Ciampa and Thatcher are both legit guys, but as a team, bullshit. Kushida and Ruff, Kushida's badass, Ruff is rough, another bullshit team. Drake Maverick, Killian Dane. If you would have taken out all these joke teams, consolidated this tournament to the legit teams, then it would be good, and we could actually see all the matches on NXT. And with this, I don't see the new team winning. Like I said, I could see the grizzled young veterans, because I believe they face the winner of this match.
Yes.
So yeah. I can see them beating Undisputed Era. Maybe making it to the finals to try to get them over as well. And then, maybe them versus MSK will be in the finals. I'm not sure, but, we'll see. But, all four of these guys are legit. It'll be a good match. But like I said, the tag team of Thatcher and Ciampa just doesn't make any sense. Even though they sat down, they're like, oh, when you fight people, blah, 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 you can respect them and all this stuff. And then you see Thatcher sit down, and it's like, okay, well, this is just built off respect. Almost like the Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly. But it's like, but nobody asked for this. Nobody was like, oh, give me a tag team with these two. Nobody wanted to see that.
I don't know why they're going to do that. I just don't really understand it. Like you said, they had that like promo right there. Is somebody going to fix my teeth? I'm not a big fan of like what these guys have to do. I'm not up for that. Like next week we're gonna have, like you said, these two matches. It's gonna be like right there, Lucha House Party and Legado del Fantasma, and also Undisputed Era, Tommaso Ciampa, Timothy Thatcher. So it's gonna be a pretty good episode of NXT. And also like we have a little bit of a thing with Imperium, a segment with Imperium. Like they were talking Bartel, Agner, and also Alexander Wolf. They were saying like, hey, we're back. It seems like they're gonna get all back together. I don't know if they're gonna go to the UK or like
no, because Wolf said that he was coming here, like blah blah blah, and I'm like, well then why did you put the title on Dragunov then? Yeah, to me, Walter is always legit. Walter will never be less legit, but you know how he's even more legit than he is right now when he has the other three guys with him.
Yes,
and at least he had Wolf. At least he had one of his guys. Now he has nobody.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what? And also Imperium, they don't look too great. And then you add Wolf, and Wolf is like a glorified jobber on NXT UK. So you have, a jobber tag team right now and a jobber singles guy. And it's like you put them together, and I'm supposed to be like, oh my God. No.
Yeah, like,
yeah, so.
That's the one thing is like, I would like that if they're UK, they stay in UK, not just like going back and forth. We'll see what happens. This match was absolutely one-sided. Actually, no. It was actually really nice. I enjoyed this because at some point, I thought that like Isaiah Swerve was going to win against Bronson Reed, and I like the promo that he did with McKenzie. He's like, oh, like everybody's pointing out at me, and he's like now point out like what was like the other fingers. He's like point the one finger at me. What about the other fingers? The other four fingers? Are they pointing out at you? So like Isaiah Swerve looked really good in this match, and also like I feel that at some point he was going to win over Bronson Reed.
I really like him. I liked his heel character a lot more than the babyface. And remember when he first came out and he wasn't really talking, and we're like, this guy needs to talk. He needs to cut promos. He needs to get over that way because we know he's good in the ring. Now he's doing both, and it's like, okay, this would be a perfect, you have Kushida as the NXT North American champion. Oh, well, here's a legit guy who he's super big. The match can be believable, can be contested. And then he just gets, like you said, it was a good match, but he gets tsunamied at the end by Bronson Reed, and that was the predictable outcome. They're really pushing Bronson Reed, but again, you don't push these guys and do stuff unless you have a plan 3-4 months ahead. At least that's how it should be, because it's like, what's the plan with Bronson Reed? Is he gonna beat Gargano or beat Kushida, or is the title gonna go on Karrion Kross and he's gonna challenge Kross and beat? What is the plan for all of these guys?
Yeah, what are you going to do with them? And again, Bronson Reed, like, he's still lost for me because he can win any match, but at the same time, he doesn't go anywhere.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Yeah, it don't matter how fast you're spinning the wheels. If you're not going anywhere, it doesn't mean anything.
We got to see, of course, the tsunami, and that was it. 1, 2, 3, Bronson Reed gets the win, but, like, where is this going to head for him? Like I said, like the one thing is, like, that sometimes, like, the titles, like, it seems like every match should be, like, a fatal 4-way or anything because, like, they don't know how to book it. Like sometimes they have too much talent, and I don't know how they can make it better. But, you know, that's what we have. And then let's go to the main event. Main event was going to be, of course, like the tag match between Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor going against, you know, the tag team champions, Birch and also Danny Lorcan. And good match. I liked it. I mean, the tag champs didn't look that good, though. I feel that, like, they could have been much more impactful, and, like, they could have looked much more important towards, like, Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly. To me, like, it looked like the baby faces were way over better than the actual tag champions.
And that's because they are. I'm not saying if you just go off pure wrestling skill, you know, that Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly are way better than, you know, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, because I think they're good wrestlers. I've been a fan of theirs for a long time. But, you know, with this heel gimmick, and they haven't really been presented as a legit tag team until joining up with Pat McAfee, and then you take Pat McAfee away, and then it's like, okay, well, you know, they're kind of just back to the same old team. You know, they're not. It's not like they changed their gear or changed their look or anything. They're still the same, you know, just guys who we, you know, have seen as jobbers for years, and they're going to be kind of presented like that because I think their days are numbered. Like, let's say MSK, whoever wins that tournament is taking the belts from them.
Yeah, like my problem is, like, you know, if you were playing like WWE 2K and, like, you know, Burge and like Lorcan at like 70, like ranked like that, and like Balor and O'Reilly like probably 85. So that's how it looked to me. Like, you know, you knew that, like, they didn't stand a chance, and that kind of bothered me because if you're the tag champs, you're supposed to look semi decent, don't you think?
You should, but, like, you know, these are, like you had just said, these guys, you know, if you go by the ratings in the game, these are two main event guys. These are these are the guys I'm going to pick, and then you scroll by overall. Oh, where's Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch? Oh, they're 70 and 71. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like legit. But, like, outside of that, like I said, good match. You know, we, like, Pete Dunne wasn't even getting involved yet. But then, you know, like, Kyle O'Reilly made, like, this submission call, which was good because he's using different calls as finishers. I like that different aspect of it, and they got the win. But then Pete Dunne came out, and they start all attacking, like, O'Reilly and Finn Balor. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a triple threat on this one. I absolutely don't think that they're going to do that. That will be complete, like, massacre if they go that way. But, like, Finn, you know, Pete Dunne starts attacking also, like I said, Finn Balor, O'Reilly's done. But then the Undisputed Era comes out. I don't really like that. But before that, we got to see this great thing. You know, everybody loves that. And, like, he's like, don't do it. He's about to snap the fingers. Don't do it. Don't do it. He's like, you know, he sees Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. He still does it. Really cool. I really love that move. Finn Balor's looking done. And, I mean, that was what we have. And then you just get to see, like, this. All, like, the Undisputed Era together. And at some point, Finn Balor, it seemed like he was going to go, like, do the Undisputed, like, poster, but it didn't. I think, you know, it's like that half of a second. I was like, is he going to join? But then he went down. So that's how the show went on, Eric. I want your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're beating up their boy Kyle, and that's why they came out and made the save. But, you know, when they stand tall in the ring and everything, I'm like, you know, like, what's going – it's almost like they and yeah, I guess they have history too, so, and all this stuff, but I don't know. I wish it was just Pete Dunne and Finn Balor. I wish it was just, we have the match, it's set, it's going to happen, and then, like, that's what it is. We don't need all this extra stuff. We don't need all, you know, the bells and whistles and everything, because to me, it just takes away the legitness of the match.
Yeah, like that's what, like, again, for example, like the last 5 minutes, it felt like, okay, why is the Undisputed Era there? You know, it's like, why can't it be all Finn and Pete? You know, like,
and this is a thing, too, and I'm sure you'll agree. In modern wrestling, a heel, unless that heel is Randy Orton when he was going on his Legend Killer run, modern wrestling doesn't allow heels to keep the heat they have. Yeah. Like let's say Pete Dunne beats up Finn Balor, he beats up Kyle O'Reilly. At the end of the show, it should be him, Lorcan, and Burch standing there tall. Credits, boom. You know, go to a show. Let the heels have heat. When they get beat down at the end of the show, all the heat that they got went away. And then, you know, starting up next week, they have no heat. Oh, I don't care. Why am I supposed to fear you? You got chased off at the end of last week.
And especially all the time they're retrieving. It should not be that way. Remember, why is the big thing that Evolution became so big? Because they beat every single babyface up every single week. They did when Papa Pump came out. They did it to RVD. They did it to Goldberg. They did it to every single guy that went against Triple H.
And that's how you get heat.
Yes, you know, but, like, they don't know how to do that, but that's how the show ended. So, like, you know, in perspective, as a whole, I think it was a pretty nice episode of NXT because I didn't feel at least, oh my gosh, that this sucks. So it was okay, you know, like, good things for, like, what is going to be Dusty Cup one more time and then probably take over. But don't forget, family, Jean-Paul myself will be covering the Royal Rumble. This is this Sunday. Lots of things, you know, like a lot of people are fearing that it's going to be a bullshit Rumble. Different concepts, like different endings are supposed to be discussed. But as of today, both of the winners are already chosen. Now, WWE finally locked both of the winners, so we'll see. But like, don't forget, all of the coverage right here on Raw Break in Spanish and English. And also, family, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and where else, Paul?
And then make sure you follow us, Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
So, family, thank you so very much. Next time we see each other will be for AEW. Also, like a lot of like things, the awards of the AEW family, they were like given like today on Bleacher Report. Shaq like Cody, so they're gonna have a match. I don't know why, but they're gonna have a match. And also after that is when the main event for us comes out, because it's another episode of NXT UK. So be with us for that. So one more thing that we have left to say. What is that, Paul?
The